Welcome to Burning Questions. In every episode, we take on 5 essential questions about life on a rapidly warming planet. I'm Leslie Davenport, your host and a climate psychology consultant. And together with thought leaders, activists, and people from all walks of life, we explore how to build resilience and courage and create real change. Transformation can't be done alone. It takes all of us. So thank you for joining, and let's get started. I'm excited to welcome our guest today. Steffi Bednarek is the founder and director of the Center for Climate Psychology in the UK and editor of the book Climate Psychology and Change, which reckons with the ways our innocent, seeming familiar perceptions impact our myriad crises. Steffi is an accredited psychotherapist with over 25 years of clinical experience, which underpin her work in climate psychology and systems thinking. She's worked for both local and national governments, the corporate sector, global financial institutions, the sustainability sector, and larger NGOs. Her work has been featured in Huffington Post, the BBC, the Financial Times, and numerous journals and publications. Steffi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, let's jump right in. We'd love to hear about your climate wake-up moment, that point when the reality of the crisis really hit home for you.
Mm. I'm not sure there is one specific moment for me. I think there are a number of moments, and they're sort of layer upon layer upon layer. For sure, when I was a student, the Rio conference was a real shock. That was the first time I really grasped that something very serious was up. That was in my 20s. But nevertheless, that felt quite far away. And then when my daughter was born, there was a whole other layer of shock and grief when I had this really bittersweet moment of seeing her or watching her sleep. I think those of us who are parents know this moment of watching small children sleep and being aware of their vulnerability. And suddenly all of these moments of all of this information that I was holding in my head really sunk into my heart.
Yes.
And I remember that time as really distressing and turning towards friends and family who are usually there for me. And there was another wake up moment of realizing how difficult it was for other people, even psychotherapy colleagues, to hear and hold my grief. And how quickly they tried to reassure me with messages that were definitely not reassuring. So that was another layer. And I think they come really thick and fast at the moment, layer upon layer of first time I was on holiday and we had to be evacuated because we were in a wildfire zone. Um, Recently crossing the seventh of the planetary boundaries. So there are moment upon moment where each time there's a realization of, oh my God, it's real. Each time there are parts of me that try and turn away, and each time I have to put myself at staying present. So yeah, not one moment.
Well, say more about how you navigate the emotional upheaval and harm. At this point, what supports you?
Yeah, I think there's a so what I notice is because I think, like the environment, we're sort of breathing ecosystems that are subject to change, that what supports me on one day really doesn't work very well the following week or the following month. Um, so I kind of orientate towards noticing the tendencies in myself that are unhelpful, excessively watching the news and dwelling on what that actually means when mostly we know already. But I have times when I'm quite obsessive about wanting to be informed, and for sure that doesn't help me to feel balanced. Having too much time online, feeling like putting a lot of pressure on myself that I need to do something meaningful. All of these things start to just become too much, too overwhelming. But nevertheless, I have parts of me that kind of want to do these things. So then I have to remember to also balance this out, to surround myself with the right people, the right kind of activities, and to remember to do things that hold meaning in the moment for me. Um, and to also remember that what feels important is not necessarily what will be successful. So to do things because they're the right thing to do rather than pinning my mental health on them having or promising to be successful.
Yes. Oh, that's so relatable. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to participating, so from where you stand, what would be one of the most powerful drivers of effective action?
Yeah, so I thought about that a lot, and there's always this search for what's the most powerful action that we can take. And in that sense, I think there's something about viewing ourselves as an ecosystem and being part of a web of relationships where nobody gets to be outside of a toxic and dysfunctional system at the moment. And therefore, for me, I think there is no one action that is the most helpful action, that we're constantly participating in rhythms and ceremonies and patterns of relating that are more or less part of a dysfunctional system. And so the more awareness I bring to that, the more climate change is no longer just an excess of CO2 in the atmosphere. It's a way of relating to myself, it's a way of relating to others, it's a way of fragmenting life in its kind of um component parts. It's a way of thinking that is mostly human centered. And the more awareness I bring to that, the more meaningful action I see in very small changes and doing less and less and less of that. So that's for me how I'm trying to approach this sort of wicked problems and or hyper objects that are too complex to know even where to start.
Oh, that's so beautiful because I think a lot of us do struggle with that. It's so big. Where do I jump in and will it make a difference? And I think the way you frame that really offers a lot of entry entryways and yeah, participation. Well, you may have spoken to this already, but given that you have been looking at this for quite a while and working with this, is there sort of a nugget of wisdom, a source of inspiration that you return to sort of over and over, or a kind of practice that sustains you in the long run?
So the James Hillman book, We've Had 100 Years of Psychotherapy and the World is Getting Worse, is definitely something that deeply informs me. I think it was written in 85, so it's 50 years old. And it shows us that really the concerns have been voiced for a very long time, and that it is a book about psychotherapy, but really what it shows is that mostly the way we understand ourselves, often as separate from our context, is something, whether we are psychologically minded or not, is a form of how the Western mind sees our identity. So it's how we view ourselves as human beings. And it shows that mostly that's influenced by a very Western concept of modernity, and doesn't really reflect what it means to be human at all. It reflects what it means to be Western. And so I feel like again and again I need to remind myself of that and get better and better at noticing how I enact this, as I said before.
Beautiful. So we're learning as we go and unlearning as we go. Well, before we close, is there anything else on your heart, on your mind that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think in my work, there's often an invitation to comment on what I see in others. And for me, a very important move is to turn towards ourselves, to turn towards our professions, and not just to see ourselves as people who are going to contribute to helpful actions, but also to notice how we might be caught in patterns that are repeating unhelpful patterns. And so I think we need to not just see unwise actions in others. Um,
Uh,
so I need to be able to see the parts of me that want to numb, see the parts of me that might have selfish thoughts about my family first, parts that are looking for like blaming others, parts that want to zone out, numb, um, all of these parts I think are going to be more and more um, part of all of us. And so I think we have to become more skilled in how to access the wisest part of our psyche or of our mind. And the access points, how we access this wise mind, there are so many ways. And so again, there's not just one solution. But I think we need practices to not be triggered into the most kind of reactive aspects of us, which we all have.
Yes. Oh, it's so true. And it sort of gives me inspiration for sort of the next series on those access points and tools and sharing them widely. And yes, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here, and sharing your perspectives, your experiences.
Mm.
Um, so much openness for, as you were speaking, I just felt so many ways I could relate, and reminders for myself too, as you give reminders for what helps you. So thank you for sharing this.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, on the screen, you will see links for how to connect with Steffi, as well as in the show notes. And so, for those of you listening, thanks for being here. And join us next month for the next episode, because we're always better together.